I have opted to show you how I put in a zipper. I'm going to try to do this in one full editing, so we'll see what happens. But your iron, when you are trying to put in a zipper, is your friend. So take your fabric and iron the living heck out of it. So let me finish doing that, and then we'll get to phase 2. Okay, so now the next part of it, don't look at my messy sewing room because I'm making your video, is I use a little bit of heavy starch on fabrics that will tolerate it. That's anything with any kind of cotton in it, just to give the fabric a little bit of stability. And apparently all of you know how to starch something. So you put it on. Sorry about the nauseous camera there. And you do it again. So I'm going to go ahead and let that set. And then I'm going to come back to the next part of it. Hang in there. Okay, so now my fabric is all nice and pressed and nice and even and knows I'm in charge because I have pressed it to death and I've told it that I'm in charge. And I put right sides together. Now the next part is exactly the same as you have done in the past, how I do it. And what I do is, hang on, I'm going to turn this around. Hopefully you can see me. I'm going to open the zipper. Sorry about the bad camera work. You open the zipper, because I never open them until right before I'm doing it. And then, beautiful, isn't that cute? Then I lay the zipper down. Hopefully you saw that. Then I lay the zipper down, and I'm going to measure from the very top of the fabric to the bottom as to where my seam is going to be. And of course I don't have a pin within reach, so let me get one of those. Hang on. Woo. Okay, now I'm back. That's a cool effect. So now I'm back, and now I put my zipper right at the edge of my top of my fabric, and this is going to give you enough room to this is going to give you enough room for your facings and all those other little fancy things. I'm sorry I didn't do that. So right at the top of your pattern, and you're going to lay your zipper down, and now I'm going to measure. And then I measure right to the little bottom part of it, right there. I measure right to the bottom part, and that's where I'm going to make my seam. So hang on, let me do that. Okay, so I put my pin in place, and my fabric is all nice and nestled together, and I like to go ahead and, on this particular one, a lot of times I don't pin, but on this one I go ahead and pin out where I'm going to make that 5/8 inch of a seam. You guys are smart enough to do that, so I'm going to go to my machine and do that, so hang on. Okay, so now I've made a 5/8 inch seam. Should have probably done that in a different color, but if you look really, really close, you can see my nice little pretty marks. And that is, you're going to be where you press your seam open, and of course you leave the top where your zipper is going to go with no seam. Now, a very important thing to do is to press this open and press your top part even with the seam. So I'm going to do that and show you in a second. Okay, so now you can see that this is, you all are probably at this point, you've all gotten to this point, and you just make sure that you have a nice flat pressed seam. Now here comes where I do my zipper just a little bit different. Hang on one more second. Okay, so from your comments, what I'm assuming is that most of you, what you do is you pin down one side, go across the bottom, and then reverse the pins and then go back up. I used to do mine this way, but I discovered that that's why I'm puckering. So now what I do, because it's done badly because I knew I was going to rip it out, now what I do is I just pin one side of the zipper, and I'm going to, let's see if I can get this, and I'm going to show you again how evenly I put it on here because I just did this really, really quick. So hang on, I'm going to pause the tape and come back and show you the way it should look. Okay, so now back to the Marina method. What I do is I open the zipper, and then I take the one side. I'm just going to work on the, what is this, the right side, or if you're facing it, the left side, but this side first, and I make sure that I bring the fabric right to the edge of the zipper so they're all lined up, so that hopefully when it goes in just right, the zipper edge is covered up. So now I'm going to show you how to use your zipper foot, which is going to be interesting because I got to sew and do it with video, so that's going to be fun, so you can enjoy laughing at that part. So hang on, let me go over to the machine. Okay, so I have a magic box of accessories that I bought, and I love it. And this is the zipper foot that came with it. I don't usually use that. I have one that I've been using since I was 8 years old, and that's my little magic foot here. I just like the way it looks. The other ones work just fine. This is just my buddy. So you're going to attach it to the machine. So I will be doing that in a second. Hang on. Okay, so my little zipper foot is all in place, and I have it set up to go down the side of the fabric that I'm going to be sewing on. So let me get that in there. Okay, so let's see if I can put a zipper in, pull the pins, and hang on, I'm going to change the pins so I can go over them for the video. Hang on a second. Okay, I normally don't put the pins in sideways because I don't like to sew over them, and I like them up and down, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to put them in sideways. So now I'm going to use a longer stitch than I normally do because I'm ripping the zipper out. I'm just doing this for you guys. So now you're going to just sew, and because you're using the zipper foot, it won't catch on these teeth, and you just kind of pick a spot on your machine where you're keeping it lined up. Sometimes if I'm doing precision, sometimes if I'm doing precision zippers, I'll actually put a piece of tape down and keep it in line. So as you can see, it's going in nice and smooth. Okay, right about halfway, I do something crazy, and I zip up the zipper, which I can't do with 2 hands, so hang on. Okay, so I like to zip up the zipper sometimes I don't. Just sometimes I'd like to level up, but on this side I always, usually when I get towards the bottom, I zip it up just so I can see where I'm going, and that metal piece isn't getting in my way. So now you're just going to go keep sewing all the way down, keeping this over the top of it. Okay. Now this is where my method changes, is when I get to the bottom, I just go ahead and stop. And then I back tack. And you go, what? And I take it out of my machine, and sadly my auto cutter is not working anymore. I take it out of the machine, I cut the thread, and I stop, and that's how half my zipper is in. And now I'm going to show you how to do the other side. Okay, so now I've got this side. Ignore my threads. I always have hanging threads, and then I'm just doing this really quick. So now you have half of it down, and the key is to make sure that you press this side down. So you make sure that you press everything into place because you're letting the fabric know you are boss. So I have everything nice and smooth, exactly the way it should be. And you try doing this with one hand. And let me show you how to do the other side. Okay, and my seam's a little crooked, but you'll forgive me. So now what I've done is instead of doing it in one continuous seam, I've come to the side at the bottom, and I've stopped. And now I put my pins in, which again, I got to switch them now because I'm going to go sideways. I put the pins in this direction because I'm going to sew in this direction because there was a time that I discovered my zipper foot does something magical, and it's why it's called a zipper foot. Okay, we're back to this magical creature. On the back of your zipper foot, you can unscrew this screw and let the zipper foot move. And now I've moved the zipper foot to the other side. What? So that will let me, if I can do this with one hand, again, sorry about the bad video. That will let me now sew this side of the seam, this side of the seam down in the same direction that I sewed, in the same direction that I sewed this side. So now the fabric isn't moving in 2 different directions. And if you can see, pulling it in closer, the zipper's on the other side, so it'll clear the zipper side, and of course I have to rethread my needle now. And then you can kind of adjust this. You want to bring it in just a little bit closer, but not close enough to where you break your needle. Alright, so let me rethread that needle, and then I'm going to sew that side with one hand. Okay, let's see if I can do this and keep the camera straight. So now you can see I'm on this side, my zipper foot's here, and I'm on this side of it. And I start sewing. Now what I also do is I try to keep the zipper closed, but for the top part, just this little bit here, I do open it. So hang on. So I open it just a tiny bit. I wonder if I could sew through here. This would be interesting. And just so I can kind of get through there. And of course you would back tack. I'm going to pull this pin out. And then now I'm going to close the zipper. Hang on, sorry about that, hang on. Alright, so now I've closed the zipper, and what I do is when I'm sewing, I kind of make sure that the fabric is touching the other fabric so that the zipper stays closed, because I don't like to see my zipper. And again, this might be a little wanky because I'm making a video and doing it at the same time. But when I figured out that if I just had the fabric be sewn in the same direction, I stopped getting my tops to started matching. Everything was great. So then I go like to here. So now I'm going to go straight down. And I got a kink there because I'm making a video, of course. And I'm able to do that. So we're going to pretend that's not there because I wouldn't have been there if I had two hands. And then we're going to go ahead and do this. And then we're going to even it up. Now, you can do one of two things here. You can pick up the machine. Normally I'm not sewing in white, and you can go ahead and sew across like you normally do. Or you can go across like you normally do. What I do a lot of times, because I usually use the same color thread, is I will get to this spot here, and I will put my regular foot on, and then I will actually back tack this in place. So ignore that wank. It wouldn't have been there if I had my fingers in the right spot. So I leave the bottom open so that there's any fabric to release, it can release. And if you get any kinks, it's kind of at the bottom, so like, you know, nobody's really care. And I can pretty much press the hell out of that thing and get it going. So hang on one second. See, it pressed right into place. So the key to my method is to press, 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 press. And sew one side, then switch your zipper foot and sew the other side. And then I'm not going to do it here, but a lot of times I'll just bar tack this bottom piece in place so that the zipper doesn't lift. And it's no crisis if like let's say you didn't measure right and you've got to sew over a little bit of this, your machine will either set your bar tack wide enough to go across that, or your machine will actually go through that plastic without any problems. And so hopefully you will have a much better result with your zipper. Hang on one second, I'll show you my finished result. Oh, there you go. My top's matched. Everything's nice and clean. You're all ready to go. You can't work zippers with apparently one hand, but the zipper does work. And as you can see, it overlaps. Really nice in the middle. Sorry about how messy it is, but I hope this helps.